Hey, welcome back to another edition of Dogging It. I'm here at the house while my man is out on location. And God,
This
where
is a
are you,
tech,
Mike? What part of Michigan are you in?
Battle Creek. This is the
Oh,
cereal
okay.
capital of the world. This is where
Is it really?
Kellogg is. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
This is
there
the
last year.
Kellogg
I remember
Arena.
that part.
This is the Kellogg Arena. Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well,
So
let's talk Pro Bird series because I know they never say that we never give them any love here on the show and
yeah,
and all that fun stuff. But how's the event been for you so far? Because you were out there since yesterday.
yeah. It's a great field. I mean, this field in Connecticut, two amazing fields. A lot of strong players here. The women's division here is fantastic. Um, and it's a nice event. It's the Pro Billiard Series format, two sets, race to four. Once they get down to the single elimination, it's a third set, race to four unless it's 3-3. Then they do the shootout. Been some good matches. Joven upset Tyler last night. Been
Right.
some great matches today. Misko and Wojciech went into a third set before Misko pulled that out. Just saw Jasmine Ausham defeat Sarah Seau. So she's in the final
Eight.
eight now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The women finish tomorrow. The men finish tonight. The men's match goes off at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
So right now they got a semifinal going on between two Polish players in
Yep.
Fortunski and Victor.
And it's
And
on the
that
TV table, which will make Martin Sawicki very happy.
no more complaining there from Martin. And then you got which by the way he's got a point. But
Yeah,
and then you also have the Federer match between Yap that's going to be later on this
correct. Four
afternoon
o'clock
at 4 o'clock, right, Mike?
for
Um,
Eastern. Yeah.
give me the vibe from the players how they're feeling regarding the format and it being kind of brought back after a few months of being off.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of players here. They they're dealing with the format. You deal with the cards that you dealt,
It's an
right?
interesting choice of words, Mike.
Well, do they love it? No, but a lot of them are going to a lot of them went to China, and a lot of them are going to Qatar. They don't love that format either, the one on the spot. So, you
Right.
know, there isn't the perfect formula hasn't been invented yet. So every tournament, you know, guys are going to wish it was a little different. So, but here they deal with it. They know what they're up against. It's a good prize fund. So that's why a lot of the guys are here. Big Polish contingent here. The five guys all traveling together: Mitsko,
Right.
Wojciech, Daniel, Victor, and Conrad. And then you have Yap here, who's won this the last 2 years in a row. Really strong players, and they know what they're up against here. There's no surprises at least.
Do you think it's a coincidence, just given how strong the Polish Federation is, and all the recent events that you got all these guys who made it a point to be here, Mike, in this event?
No, as a matter of fact, I talked to Victor today, and I asked him, why are
Yeah.
you here? And he said, the Federation not paying for this trip, even though it's a WPA event, it's not a World
Okay.
Championship event. So this is not Federation money. They're here on their own nickel. They all decided together they would come here because the money was really good.
Right.
He did say that at the beginning, it sounded like when they first announced Jason's event that there wasn't going to be the added money that there is, or that he said there was the prize money didn't look as strong as it turned out to be, although I still think they would have picked here. It's a killer field in Connecticut and killer field here, but not quite as strong as there,
Right.
and better prize money. So that's the
It's
main reason that they're here.
it's interesting because I'm just looking at the World Nine Ball Tour rankings. I count one, two, three, four Polish players in the top 21.
Yeah,
As low as 35,900 to Fortunski. So you talk about a chance to pick up an extra 15,000 there at Jason's event. It could really put you in a good spot, and especially Victor, for example, who sits right now at 65,000. If you were to pick up, let's say 15,000, he'd be right around 80. That'll put him in that Mario He, Jason
yeah,
Shaw, Albin Ocean, or just sorry, Josh Filler kind of class. So it's a real interesting decision, but I agree with you. I mean, you can't argue numbers, and the price fund there, at least on the top part, is certainly better for the Pro Billiard Series. But you would have kind of expected, just given how they haven't been around in a few months, and this is the first time back. There's been some chatter online, Mike, just as far as this isn't the updates that we're used to seeing from the Pro Billiard series. No other
Yeah,
matches being streamed, no
yeah.
live scoring. Can you provide some insight as to why that is, Mike?
Well, the word was filtered out that they had been dealing with Kazum for their
Right,
events, and those guys would come over from Europe for it, and allegedly got turned away, at the gate, trying to leave the country or trying to get into the U.S. I didn't determine which one was which. So that all got left behind. The ability to stream the other tables. That's why they started allowing players to stream their own tables.
right,
Um, so it's not ideal. The other part of it is, you can walk around and watch all these other matches going on. You can't really. They're in this big 8 table pit, right? And so players that are playing in the middle, you have no idea what the score is. There's no iPads, there's no beads, there's no, you know, I said they should at least have like one of those ring girls at the prize fights where they walk around between with the cards.
yeah,
Something. There should be some way to update the score, especially when you're doing a format like this where it's 3 sets. You don't even know where you're at. You don't know if you're in the first
yeah.
set, second set, third set, shootout. You have no clue. So that's a little
How are
frustrating,
they
and
keeping track then, Mike, in those middle tables?
the players are keeping their own score. They just got a sheet of paper and they're just marking off, 1 game, 2 games. So you basically got to sneak into the arena and tap on the shoulder and go, "Are you winning or losing?"
Yeah. Good luck doing that with old with
yeah,
old
yeah,
Graybo, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Not ideal.
Some guys you can go and wear it a little better. I don't know, Mike. Something like that just kind of seems like, look, you can run to
it's
Kinkos and get a scoreboard like,
Yeah. I mean,
you
talk
know,
about
just to throw it up, you know.
not rocket science. It's rudimentary stuff. I want to know what the hell the score is.
Yeah,
And so because of all that, they're not updating on tablets, so you're not getting updates even on the digital and the website either, except for the TV table, which is the only one that's being updated game by game.
right. Well, the plus side is, like you said, that they are allowing players to go and stream their matches. So kudos to them
Yeah,
for having that flexibility, and allowing it. I mean, they didn't have to do that, So
yeah, right.
to go and do that for that way, their fans across the world can go and tune in and sweat it along with them, and at least it kind of gives some idea of where some of these matches are, because
Right.
we've kind of gotten a bit spoiled now, where live scoring is just to be expected when you think about a top level event, and
It
so
should
to
be
have that.
expected. I mean, this is
Yeah,
2023, and we're trying to be a regular sport. I mean, come on.
yeah.
You
I,
gotta
I
you
mean, I
gotta you gotta take these low hanging fruit things that make a difference to people and make sure that they do what they want.
I remember, our first time out there in Vegas, where they had Mark White just walking around with a tablet, going and manually inputting, the scores, and that was what was uploaded. This is the days before they actually had tablets at each thing. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. Even
You
on
know,
even on even on digital pool, for example, you could have input the names on there, send them
right?
text messages, then they could have links where they can just go and tap their phone, and it would upload them themselves through the online, through their phone, which
You
all
could
the
have
players are used to using their phone.
you could have just called Pat Fleming and had him send Barry Berman's old beads from up over the tables that they still
The
have in the
big
stores
the
locked
big
in.
ones, right?
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
they were painted like balls.
Well, let's talk about the play, Mike, because a lot, like you said, a very class field there out
Yeah.
in Battle Creek. Very strong top four. But what's been your take, and who's been kind of some of the standouts from the guys who are left, and maybe even some of the guys who are no longer in the final four?
Yeah, well, Van Lyrup had a really nice tournament, had a nice run. Joven had a nice little run. So there were some good players. I mean, again, this format kind of lends itself to a couple of those guys sneaking through.
Right.
Some good matches there. Federer, not surprisingly, has looked really solid. Um, Yap has played really well, and the Misko has looked really good at some points, and then during part of his match with Wojciech, he just tuned out. So, which is why it went to a third set. So, the guys who are still here at the end, not surprisingly, playing really well. I was only here yesterday afternoon and evening, so I didn't get to see the first couple rounds.
Right.
So it's hard to really kind of comment on who all was playing really strong from that point.
Well, we saw Yap lose to Tyler on the TV table earlier in the event, so for him to kind of circle back to the one loss
Yeah,
side is very is very strong, without a doubt.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you expect guys like Federer to. It's like it's so hard because I remember with Francisco, I was always kind of expecting the fall, like this is where he's going to taper off a little bit,
right,
but you
right.
expect Federer like if Federer don't at least make it to the final eight, it's a bust. The wheels are
Yeah,
just
for
are,
sure.
are, are just off on this event. So and then at that point, that's really when it's time to play because you expect him to at least be in that area. Now he's got a chance to make it to another final, which is pretty strong. We all know how great his 10 ball break and really for that matter his all around game. From his safety
Yeah,
play to his jumping, his tactical, defensive side. I mean, you name it, and then the guy can just run out from everywhere. So
yeah.
I'm
He
looking
looks
forward to
strong. I
that
mean,
matchup there.
it's a it still becomes a coin flip because of the two short sets. You could
Right.
really play much better than your opponent, end up in a shootout, and who the hell knows what's going to happen. So, but better obviously in the back of his mind's got to be thinking, I better get to the final because I rolled the dice on making money here as opposed to getting points in Connecticut.
Do you think that that's all, or do you think that's a realistic thought going through his mind, Mike?
I would hope not. I mean, I would hope that he's kind of pushed
Yeah.
that stuff to the side and say, I'm just taking it ball by ball. But
Yeah.
as a
Well, I mean, I'm not saying in the sense of weighing
railbird,
him down during the match, but more so like just kind of lingering back there.
yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask him later.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure, and it was a bit of, I don't want to say if gamble's a word because everyone knows how consistent that he's been over the last few years. So and even whenever I talked to him last and brought that up, bringing up that topic in particular, he even said, "Hey, listen, if they're not going to pick me, that's their own fault."
You're right.
So and I genuinely believe it, where I don't feel like it's one of those things that you say to sound like you don't give a shit. Like I
Yeah,
genuinely think that like he knows where he's at. He knows
yeah,
where he's at on the totem pole. And if they don't pick him, he's already been to that heartache. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
thanks, but
yeah,
don't call me, I'll call you, kind of deals.
yeah.
So, um, but no, it's there. There's let's talk about the conditions, Mike, because it wouldn't be a Predator event if the tables were not a topic of conversation, even over the last few years.
Yeah,
How
haven't
have you
heard.
seen? How have you seen them play?
Yeah, haven't heard a lot of gripes. The only couple have had a couple people question the cloth is super fast, super fast. I talked to Max Lechner. He thought maybe they stretched it too tight. Talked to another player who said, "Well, I think this is different cloth than was being used in Wisconsin, and it's their old cloth. Whoever, I don't know, but they are playing super fast. I was watching Allison play Margaret. I don't know who ended up winning. Oh, they're
Let
still
me
playing.
see.
They're still
They're
playing.
still.
I think they might be in a shootout. Yeah, they're in a shootout at this point. But there was a shot that Allison barely touched, and it went all the way down to the top rail and all the way back to the bottom rail with the cue ball.
Yeah.
So the tables are running fast, but really that's the only thing I've heard all week. Nothing as far as tables rolling off. And a couple players said, listen, it's hard playing on concrete, but what
Yeah.
we do know is that you don't have to worry about the tables settling into carpet and changing over a day. So everybody's got their own, players have their little theories and nuances and idiosyncrasies about the equipment,
Well,
and you're going to get it's a
listen.
mixed bag.
I'm not Bill Nye, although now that I think about it, you kind of look like Bill Nye.
Yeah,
Now
well,
that
you know
you
what?
know,
That's like the third person in the
I
past
never,
year that's done
I
that, and
never.
I'm not happy with that analogy at all. I got to be
It's
honest
pure
with
coincidence. Although I would co-sign it had I heard him say that. But
you.
I agree. Whenever I've seen table play on concrete, I just see him kind of just kind of speed up a little bit, or not a little bit,
Yeah,
but a lot of it.
yeah,
And so, but I know they had Ernesto out there doing some of the tables, and we all know how well he's
yeah.
the
He's
class of installers here in the
yeah.
United States, or actually probably around the world. So, but
Hold on, I
yeah,
got to
I'm
check out this shot.
okay. Go ahead. Let's see. So this is Allison and Margaret in a shootout.
Correct.
Give me a play-by-play, Mike. Who's at the table?
Margaret's at the table. She just made her shot.
Scoot over a little bit, Panozzo.
No one's shaking hands. So, well, if you can see that one, good luck to you.
It's the
Uh,
top table up there on
yeah,
the
it's the
left
only
side.
table that anybody's on. the only
Ah,
table in
okay.
the event. You see the
Well,
referee putting
I
the
see the
ball down.
referee there spotting it up.
Yeah.
Let's have a little bit of a sweater here. I like pool. I don't care how far away it may be. Uh, I was there last year. I'm glad that they switched around the tables from the other side of the arena to this
Yes,
side of
to
the
this
arena
side.
because
Yeah.
that part of being able to sweat it from the
From the bleachers
stands
is really
is
cool.
pretty
Yeah,
smart.
it's
Yeah.
really nice. So here's Allison. This is the next inning because she's shooting to the other pocket.
It's Allison now.
Allison's at the table shooting to the opposite corner pocket, so they must be in the next inning.
I hope one of them are at least streaming, whether it's Allison or Margaret.
Allison rattled that one in.
Oh, but it went in. It went
Oh
in.
yeah,
We got action.
we got hit.
Um,
So,
how have the ladies
the women's
been
field's
faring?
really great. The women's field's really great. Obviously, they don't have that many events this size, so all the
Right.
Europeans here, all the Asians are here. Uh, Chow and Sao and Yuki Hiraguchi, all the top.
I was surprised though, Mike, because there was a lot of ladies that you didn't expect to be in loser qualifications that were. We had Margaret Fefalova in there.
Yeah,
Let's see, Kelly
Margaret's at the
Fisher,
table
Jasmine
now.
Ocean. So was Christina Tkach. I mean, these aren't names that we're used to seeing. Have to earn their way in from the one loss side on an event like this.
No, but that's the format. It can make you pay early because the early matches are just two sets
Yep.
and then shootout. So a lot of these women lose in the shootout. And Margaret made her shot,
Now it's
so they're
Allison's
in.
turn.
They're into the next inning. Um, yeah.
What?
So that means that this went to a third set and it was 3-3. Allison won the first set 4-3. Margaret had a chance to win the first set. And then
For some
Margaret,
reason, I thought that was going to be the format from the beginning. I
no,
didn't.
it's only once it gets to single elimination.
I wonder why they decide to change that up, Mike. What do you think?
Uh, Time, I would think, early on. And hold on one sec.
This is Allison at the table up there on the top shooting a spot
And
shot.
she made hers.
She made hers. We got action some
So this
more.
is, yeah, we got to be in sudden death at this point. Oh, no, it's over.
Is it?
Yeah, Allison won.
Oh, so that means Margaret would have already had missed at some point then.
Yeah, so that had to be the last round of their thing. So Allison moves on. But you get especially in the women's division, you get at the bottom half of the field, it's not a really strong field.
Right.
You don't want a lot of those players playing three sets in a shootout if you don't have to.
Right.
So they kind of get through it, and then they go to the shootout once it comes to final 16,
I'm gonna turn this
which
off
I
and
like.
I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Let me see here and see if we can. I think this is the ladies event that I'm gonna be sharing here. Maybe. Nope.
No, that's
Hold on.
men's.
Hold
That's
on a
men's.
second.
I see some Polish flags.
There you go. Let's switch it up a little bit. So, uh, actually, now that Margaret has won, you guys, she's actually going to be facing. I'm sorry. Now that Allison has won, she's going to be
Right.
facing Kelly Fisher.
Correct.
Um, Chow is going to be facing Jasmine Ocean. Takach against Wei. The Fishers facing each other, and then Kawarha versus Bean Hung. So that's going to be a
Right.
fantastic matchup. But
Yeah, they're all good at this point. They've got some good
uh,
line. They got some good matches coming up here.
yeah, I'm gonna be very much tuned in. That starts at 6:30 Eastern time, you guys, and then just kind of swapping over. It looks like Victor won the first set in the men's division, and then it's 1-0 in favor of Fortunsky in the second set. So you guys can check that out at World Billiard TV, where you can sweat the matches from here. So Mike, give me if you're gonna go and rate the event, from just an overall experience standpoint, um, kind of just the whole vibe out there because I see a lot of league players. I see some vendors there.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
how are you chalking this one up?
It's a good event. The leagues they got a lot more teams here than they've had the last couple of
Right.
years, so we've got a lot of people here. Um, Not a big seating area around the arena,
Has that
so
translated to more fans wanting to sweat the matches or hanging around to sweat them?
not really to be honest with you. I think they've got two sets of bleachers set up. It's only really set up for you know 30 people. So I think tonight men's final you'll get more people in there for sure. But there are people stopping by to look and watching. It's not their best arena setup ever, But overall, the event's been a good event. You know, good money, great fields, a lot of activity going on, a lot of vendors, a lot of league players. So, you know, it's a quality event.
I just wish they would have been a little bit more flexible on their toes when it comes to these adjustments that are going on. You know, you want
Yeah,
to
obviously.
you really want to have a better at home experience, and it doesn't take a whole lot to just kind of make the best of it. This just kind
Yeah,
of seems like this is the hand we're dealt with, and we're just going to settle for where we're at.
yeah. I mean,
And
those little flip cards with the score. How tough is that? I mean, you
yeah,
know,
anything.
you could have had those overnighted to even if it wasn't even until the second or third day.
Yeah,
You know, if you're trying to get more, I mean, part of the whole rationale for the whole Further Pro Series is trying to get more people involved, engaged. Well, you got to help them out,
yeah, yeah. So the next event for them, I think, is going to be Austria in October, followed by
right?
Puerto Rico in
Of
November. A
course,
lot of world championships that are going
a
to be
lot
coming
going on.
through.
Yeah,
Men's
team
final.
event's going to be great.
That's my favorite,
Can't
Mike.
wait.
To be
Oh
honest,
yeah,
like
yeah. The team's going
that's
to be great.
yeah. I used to love, way back when they used to have the team event every year in China, and that was the one that I really enjoyed more than anything because I would stay up and they would have I think back then it was a five man team is what it was, and
Okay.
but those were absolutely stacked fields, and just a ton of fun. It's a different dynamic, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Great stuff.
and anything to kind of mix it up a little bit. I don't think that the format is terrible from a fan standpoint. I think it's the opposite because it brings in excitement from every rack, you know. But
Yeah,
like we mentioned before, if the players aren't buying in, that's where it gets a little bit difficult. It seems like even though they've had great fields, though, like I said, there's still some opportunity that just kind of you would think after all this time to kind of get ready for it that we could have done a little better here, you know.
yeah.
So
Yeah, possibly.
um, tons of more content coming out from World Billiard TV and the Predator Pro Billiard Series. You guys can check them out on Facebook. The women's event is going to finish up tomorrow, Mike.
Correct.
Who do you like? Who do you like in the women's, and who do you like in the men's?
You know, Kelly Fisher. You know, she's always hard to pick against once she gets this deep. She just knows how to win at this point. You know, and Rita Chow. Uh, you know,
Defending
probably
champion as
my
well.
yeah, probably my two favorites here. Men's division, Final Four. You gotta like Federer from here. Anything can happen, but you gotta like he's clearly the favorite out of the four left.
How would you rank them though, Mike? If you're gonna go one through four.
Federer, Victor, Misko. Yeah,
Interesting. And I was with you until number 3 and 4. I'd probably have to give it a little bit more thought, just given how Yap's the defending champion and how well that he plays out there is the only thing that I'd factor in outside. But no, for sure, Federer's going to be the favorite. But if it becomes a Victor versus Federer final, I'm going to be real excited to see it.
yeah,
Not from what I expect to see from Federer, but more so what am I going to get from Victor?
yeah,
Because this could be very telling to see where his head's at, where his game is at, and how he can handle adversity because he's not going to be able to. Actually, we know how hard Federer's going to fight,
yeah,
and and how well that he can play in so many different areas as Victor can. I don't think
yeah,
Victor's on Federer's level, but like he's getting there, you know.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so
yeah. That'd
uh,
be great. Any of them, any finals going to be good with these four.
when are you heading home, Mike?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got to go pack for Atlantic City.
Oh, that's right. I was just packing before we went live, so I know the feeling, my man.
Yeah,
We'll try to have one more show this evening.
yeah.
Keep your notifications on, Mike. We appreciate you for hanging out with us and all you guys who tuned in. We will see you guys real soon, and yeah,